Nigeria's Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Ibe Kackikwu, has previously said that Nigeria needs about $2.5 billion to make its 4 refineries function at 90 and 95% capacity. He had also made it known that the government is considering the best investment options for their facilities in a bid to address the growing petroleum product subsidy that ran into 10 trillion naira between 2006 and 2018 alone. Mr. Ibe Kackikwu joins us now on the news to speak more about the successes and challenges recorded in the sector during his tenure. It's good to have you join us at this time, Honorable Minister. Let's look back at these past 4 years and how it's been. Let's talk about the refineries. While some were of the opinion that these refineries should be sold because they require so much money to function optimally, some others believe that these refineries should rather be up and running. What is your take on this?
Well, I think very many sides have very many views on this. The reality is that, and I'm echoing here, so it's a bit of a problem, but the reality is that at the end of the day, these refineries are assets. We can raise the requisite funding that is required to fix them, and then put them in a state where even if you decide we're going to sell at a later date, you'll have valuable assets that can actually be valued on an international basis. Right now, they're almost in a scrap mode. They're not functioning optimally. No investors are going to put in money to buy assets that are almost discrepit unless the prices are very low. You know, I hope you can hear me. There's a lot of echo here. I'm sorry.
I can hear you very much clearly. All right, from that, let's talk about the issue of subsidy now. This is one matter that gets Nigerians and non-Nigerians alike to be talking. Subsidy payment ran up to about 10 trillion naira, and that's a huge sum, even higher than the nation's budget. How were you able to manage the issue of subsidy this past tenure?
Well, the first time that we started in 2015, like you know, His Excellency the President Muhammadu Buhari, authorized us to deal with the issue of subsidy. We did. We eliminated subsidy at the time. We saved over 1 trillion naira in savings. And then, of course, the yo-yo behavior of price of oil, you know, just intervened, and suddenly you saw prices move from about $30 to an average of about $70, $80. And once prices go up, the net effect, of course, is that prices of refined petroleum products go up, and then it has an impact in terms of subsidy. What we've tried to do in the first year was obviously to eliminate that subsidy. So everybody understands that subsidy has its own negative economic impact, no doubt about that. It's money you could use for development. It's money you could use to fuel the budget. It has its impact in terms of investment, because people will not easily invest in a subsidized environment. But at the end of the day, this president ran on the basis of commonality, on the basis of the popularity that he has amongst the poor, and he's perpetually always worried about the impact of moving subsidy when we have not finished repairing our refineries. And I think that what we're going to do over the next few years, I would imagine the government will focus on trying to get those refineries working. Then they have to provide enough justification for then addressing fully the subsidy thing. The other second thing to do is to manage the subsidy well in such a way that the volume of consumption is reduced. At the critical time in 2016, 2017, we had managed to reduce that substantially. Obviously, it went up again. As you know, subsidy and the issue of refineries is really as an NNPC bid that is managed by NNPC and its management. Our job is basically an oversight and policy regulation and trying to do guidance on this. But I think we obviously need to go back to the drawing board that we had in 2016 and begin to whittle down on those numbers. There's nothing wrong with subsidy as a concept. Every part of the world gives subsidy. Donald Trump yesterday announced 16 billion to farmers because of the effect of the Chinese trade warfare. So the reality is every country looks for a way to support its system. So subsidy is not what the problem is. It's how the subsidy is run and whether the country can afford, given its precarious economic situation, subsidy at this point in time. So first, let's go deal with the numbers, whittle down those numbers so that they're realistic in terms of consumption, so we stop subsidizing our neighboring countries. Maybe when we do that, it will no longer be, quite frankly, an emotive issue. And then secondly, let us deal with infrastructure in terms of refineries. Once we do that, we can then have a basis to then address the issue of subsidy.
All right. So is this an admission now that the government is actually paying subsidy on petroleum products?
I'm not admitting anything. My point is we use the word under recovery. There's a difference between subsidy and under recovery, and I've tried to explain this many times. Subsidy is when you overtly, legally come up with a concept to pay money to exporters on a global basis, sorry, to importers on a global basis for bringing products at prices that are quite frankly higher than local sale prices. Under recovery is when NNPC, which is what is happening, decides that as a business model, it's going to be the sole importer bringing the product and hopefully consume some of the subsidy elements within its P&L. It is possible that other areas of operation will help them cover some part of that support, as it were. So they're two different issues altogether.
All right, let's now talk about the days ahead. What are your expectations for whoever will be stepping into your shoes in this new dispensation?
Oh, there are lots of things to be done. Refinery, you've mentioned, is key. The subsidy issue obviously will be addressed in terms of management. Production needs to go up because one nice way to deal with this subsidy and some of these overhangs is to obviously produce more and use the income in that to try and support some of this. The flare that we've started needs to be completed so that we exit gas flare. Gas is key. We need to create a twin parallel earning capacity for the country, and gas provides that vehicle. Infrastructural deficits in the sector is high. Our pipelines are old, some 40, 50 years, just like the refineries. We need to begin to address them. Legislation is key. We need to finish up all the work on PIGB and all the component laws. So there isn't a scarcity of work to be done.
Right then, the Minister of State for Petroleum Resources in Nigeria, Dr. Ibe Kackikwu there. Thank you very much for speaking to us at this time, and we wish you all the best in your future endeavors.